over that. So I kind of feel bad that you guys are missing that, but make sure you catch the replay because it's going to be a good one tonight.
We sure will. Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate you taking your time tonight to come, pour into my team, all of us, our team, I should say, not my team. And I'm super excited because I've actually never met you in person. I actually saw you on the cruise and you were bombarded by a lot of people. But I'll meet you. I'll meet you in Tampa. So I'm super excited. But thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. As if you guys don't know Mike, well, you guys all know Mike. So he's our Chief Sales Officer. And Mike, could you tell us a little bit about your story? I think for the most part, we all know your story, but I'm super excited to have you on tonight. We love doing Zooms with our, celebrity people of It Works. So we just love to hear from you. And I have some questions for you. And, we won't take up all your time. But,
hey, no worries. Well, I appreciate you having me. I'm in our kids' playroom right now, far away as I can get from the kids. Rocco is yelling, tell me another story all the way at the other end of the house while Sophie is trying to sleep. So if you see toys in the background or reflections, I'm not in my normal office location tonight. But Tiffany and I have been married for, my goodness, I guess it's nearly 16 years now. And we have 2 kids, Rocco and Sophia. And Rocco is 2 and Sophia turns 9 in December 1st. So it's coming up very, very close to that. So we're super excited about that. And, from a professional perspective, Tiff and I have been doing direct sales network marketing for a long time. We both dropped out of university when we found out about network marketing, direct sales. And, like a lot of people, I think we hear something good and then we go full force at it and we don't have all the information. And, she and I had a real drive and desire to own our own business and be our own boss. And we said, you know what, we don't look for a plan B or a plan C or a plan D. We looked for that plan A. Now there was many times that our plan B became our plan A and our plan C became our plan A. But at a very young age, we made a ton of money in direct sales, lost everything, and by God's grace made it through with a lot of prayer, a lot of focus, and started listening to people who had more success than us. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I can tell people outside of just sheer determination, action, and grit and going out there and hustling. Learn from other people that have been in front of you that have been successful and do what they do. Not always what they just tell you to do, but do what they do. And I think that's what we did at a very young age and just found some good people to listen to. And, it's one of those things that a lot of us look for the magic dust. We look for the fairy dust to sprinkle over our business or our loyal customers or our team members that they become instantly successful if we do that. But, all that is hard work. If we could sprinkle hard work, if we could sprinkle hustle, if we could sprinkle create a dream board and be consistent building your business, that's how you have success here. And fortunately, that's when I look back at our career, it's not because we're the smartest people. We study a lot, we learn a lot, we always do. It's because everybody has the same level playing field in direct sales. We all bring our different gifts and our abilities, but the system is the same for everyone. The compensation plan is the same for everyone. The products are the same for everyone. And in the real world, it's not always the case, depending on your skills, where you're from, your education, your role, whatever that may be, the playing field isn't level. And that's what I found out after I didn't listen to some people that were telling me how to be successful. I said, you know what, maybe I should listen to some people and watch what successful people did. And Tiffany and I have went through, we've owned our own company. We've been top. Wasn't up front. I wasn't up front. We were both not happy in the back of the room. So what was interesting was that I saw him over there and he had his arms crossed and his hands folded. And I walked over and I said, "You don't like being in the back of the room, do you?" And he said, "No, I don't like being in the back of the room." I said, "Well, who knows? Maybe we'll be up on the front of the room together one day." And I introduced myself. He introduced himself. And wouldn't you know it, a year later, it works because of a lot of people's efforts, a lot of, focused activity, grit, excitement. A year later, 1 year later, It Works was recognized as a top 100 direct sales company. And I think that just goes to show you that it's not an overnight success. It feels like that, but the company was 10 years old at that time. So it's those little bitty consistent steps that you take, and then all of a sudden, this will fall into place, this will fall into place, this will fall into place, and you'll feel like an overnight success. But what it was your consistent activity over a long period of time ultimately paid off. And that's what happened to Tiffany and I. Was we just consistently made commitments to ourselves, our goals, our dreams and desires, and we went to work every day. And we worked at those goals, we worked at those dreams, and they were always in front of us. I mean, you can walk around our house, you can see things. I mean, there's always pictures and, different things set around that motivate us to know these are our goals, these are our dreams. And I just believe life is short. I've seen too many people not take advantage of the short time that we're here on earth. And that may be a, a little philosophical or, different perspective, but, I see a lot of young ladies and young men on here.
Mhm.
But when you hit that age where you have kids or you start to not feel as well and you go, wow, you know what? I'm human. I don't know how long I'll have on this earth. So why not give it all you got with something you really enjoy and you really can have fun at, and you can make a difference. That's something that we've always believed, that if we can go out and create an amazing life for our family, not just our direct family, our kids, but my mom, my dad, Tiff's mom, her dad, but also outside of that, our extended family, and share hope and share vision and passion for doing something, and then be able to help others and giving back with those that are in need. And that's just a great life. And I think that, outside of, being a preacher or minister or something and doing something you're passionate about, I think that we've got the biggest megaphone, biggest microphone to not only make a difference in people's lives, but to help them impact others along the way as well.
I love that, Mike. Thank you so much. So many things that you said about being consistent and just, there is no secret sauce, right? I think people come in, they see these top people and they see like, look what you and Tiffany went through. I mean, I know for me, my husband and I, oh my gosh, we failed at a lot of things. My husband, we didn't go to school. I didn't finish my schooling. He didn't go to college. And I mean, I never thought I'd be doing anything like this. And it is a better way, but you have to go all in. Like, you have to go all in. Denise, obviously, our Black Diamond, she always says you go in with your head, your heart, and your feet. You can't, you can't just go halfway. You have to go all in. If you want excellence, you have to go all in. So we talk a lot about being consistent. I mean, there's days, of course, we don't feel like working our business, right? Or maybe we're going through something. I know lots of people on my team are going through things. I mean, it's normal. We're human, right? But I love that you said that, because I've never been so excited and passionate in my life about anything. And it's just because we pave our own path. I mean, what we put into our business and what we put into, each other, I mean, you can have it all, right? So I love that you said that. And, another thing that we were talking a lot about is just getting to events and the importance of getting to conference. I know conference totally changed my life the first time I went. And can you talk a little bit about, getting to conference? Because I like how you said you sat at the back of the room, my first conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't afford even to get there, but I couldn't afford not to be there. Right. So
you know what? Here's what I tell people about events. And it's not something, I get motivated and excited and I get loud and inspiring and go and start going at you a little bit. But when it comes down, if you just take all the excitement out of it, here's what I can tell you how events have impacted me. I can look back to 1999. Some of you weren't probably born at that time, but I can go back to 1999 to my very first direct selling event. I almost missed it. I almost didn't go. It was my 21st birthday. And as I go back to that day and I start looking through my career, I don't know that every single major thing that has happened that has propelled our business to the next level, that has, allowed us to go on and in our 30s become crazy multimillionaires, debt free. I mean, just ridiculous stuff. It boiled down to something that either happened at an event, was said at an event, I took a note at the event, or I was on stage at the event and somebody inspired me to go do something else. So, I just say that, again, it goes back to listening to the people that have came before you. And I was taught by my first sponsor, God rest his soul. He passed away a few years ago. His name was Jim. He was an ex-Army Ranger. And man, he was mean. Anytime you have issues with your sponsor, I just want you to say in the mirror, he's not as bad as Mike had it. It's not as bad as Jim. You know what? Because Jim was a great guy, but he did not know how to get something across without just being so rude and direct. But sometimes that's needed. Sometimes you need to hear things based on your personality. And it was my 21st birthday. I'll never forget this. And a conference was coming up. I had no clue about a conference. I just joined because I thought I could sell weight loss pills to sorority girls. True story. That's why I joined my first direct selling company, because I was in university and I saw an infomercial on TV and it said weight loss pills and you can make a lot of money and have fast cars and travel to Hawaii. I'm like, I'm in. What I got to do? Sign me up. I'm single. Yeah. I can sell weight loss pills to all the sororities. I'm like, I'm in. This is great. What a great life. And then he started talking about, you need to come to this event. I said, well, when is this event? And he said, it's January 13th, 1999. Back then I said, January 13th, that's my birthday. It's my 21st birthday. I can't go. And this is what he does to me. He said, oh, I thought you wanted to be successful at this business. And he hangs up the phone on me. And I just sat there as a 20-year-old going, one, I was a little mad. But then two, I'm smart enough to listen to people that are older than me. And I thought, okay, he's not mad at me because I didn't do anything to make him mad. I didn't know there was any kind of incentive, for me to be there for him, because there really wasn't. Why'd he hang up on me? And he really cared that I was there. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, I was in Birmingham, Alabama. I rode in the back seat of their car. I slept on the floor of him and his wife's hotel room because I didn't have any money. I mean, I'm in college. We don't have any money. And I made that decision to be there. And I don't want to make this Zoom too long, so I won't go through all the things that happened. But I ended up, because I showed up, I met someone that walked me to the front of the room, and I got to sit on the very front row for about an hour and listen to the guru, for lack of a better term, the salesperson, the Mike Potillo of that particular company, share some things. And it just struck me, and I thought, wow. I mean, I was blown away. It was crazy. And there was 2 or 3 other specific things that happened there. And it just changed my perspective on it. And I realized this is more than just selling a product. This is a product that can sell at one time, but you can help people get results for a long time, and they can sell others. And it really made me understand the whole direct selling and network marketing concept. And as I go through now to this conference, 2018, why do you need to be there? Well, let's talk about the no-brainers. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, they go, why do I need to be at a conference? I go, well, let's not even talk about conference. I don't want to sell you on why you need to be at a conference, but do you like free stuff? Yes. Well, you get 5 packs of wraps. 5. Like, come on. Discounted. I don't know what the conversion is to Canadian or EU, but it's discounted. It's virtually nothing for 5 packs of wraps. You could turn around and sell and make a lot of money. You get a free It Works bag. Right? It's a fully branded bag. It's got all the thing on there. You guys are, I'm not trying to tell you it was horrible back then, but it wasn't as easy. And our goal was to present this to 5 or 10 people a day. My memory's losing me on how many it was, at any given time, but it was never less than 5. And we made a commitment to do that because we had big dreams, we had big goals, and we wanted to go out and become successful. So if we would get home and we would not have presented that information to at least 5 people, we would go back out and we would find the place that was open 24 hours a day. And I would go up to somebody and I would say, listen, I made a commitment. I have to show this to 5 people. I've already showed it to 4. Can you be my 5th? And, just to do it, to stay consistent. I didn't care if they bought. I didn't care if they said yes. I just knew I had to do it because that's what I committed to. And I think that's the way you got to approach the end of this month. You've got the last month for points to be able to go out and get cash bonuses, conference experiences. I didn't even talk about that because the top, I don't have the list in front of me, but so many point earners. You get a special cocktail reception with Mark, myself, Pam, Cammie, international team, Albert, Kinsey. They'll be there. And it's not rank based. That's just points. So sometimes we use the excuse, well, I'm not ambassador, or I'm not presidential, or I'm not triple. This is all about action. So whoever gets the points will be at that particular event. And then the next so many point earners will be at this place called Splitsville. It's a really cool place. And they have bowling, and we'll have food there, games. It's all on us. So you come out, you earn it. You can only get in if you're that particular pointers. And the last one is a party bonus. So what I love is that there's all kinds of reasons to show up to conference, but the number one reason you should come is because you got goals, you got dreams, you got desires to change your life. And I don't know of a better place for you to be, to learn, to internalize, to be taught, inspired, educated, to take your business to that next level than conference. And that's coming from somebody that I've been doing this almost 20 years. And I don't tell you that to impress you. I just tell you that that's what works. So if you really want to know what works, then take it from somebody who's been doing it for a long time. And I did it wrong. Then I did it really, really right. And for years, we've been doing it right. And we've been doing a lot of consistent things. And events is one of the number one things that we've always done, whether we're hosting them or attending them. You need to get filled up. And you can never underestimate the value of being around like-minded people. You just can't do it. It's like a team, right? Right, Nicola, you know what I'm talking about. It's like you get out there, and it's that team atmosphere. And you have this experience where if you've got your team with you, you're invincible. You're unstoppable. And that's what conference can do for you. Tanis, are you back with us, or
yeah,
we
I'm
lose
so
you?
sorry, you guys. Something happened to my desktop. I was running around. So yes, I'm here. So now I'm on my laptop. I don't know what happened to my computer. Of
Hey,
course,
no worries.
that would happen. That's never happened before, but of course it would happen when I'm talking to you. All right. Well,
Don't worry about that. I will not remember it tomorrow.
yeah, it's so great. Well, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I talk so much about events. Conference literally changed my life, and I know a lot of my team. We've been talking a lot about getting people motivated. And what do you do if some people are not? They're kind of dead. I love how Pam always says it's easier to give birth than to raise the dead, and it's so true. I remember after I went diamond, I thought I was doing something wrong. I thought, like, well, why isn't everybody working like me? Why doesn't everyone want to be ambassador? Why isn't everybody working so hard? So what's one tip or something that you could say about, keeping people motivated or getting your team? I know for me, it's always leading from the front. People are either going to follow you or they're not, right? But I know we have to, if we want those runners, we have to be runners ourselves. So what's something that you could say that would try and, what do you recommend for some people? Because I know this is hard for a lot of people. I know it's a little bit different for me. I've moved on from things, but I remember in the beginning, I used to take things to heart. I'd be like, well, why isn't this girl messaging me back? Why isn't this girl getting on Zooms? Why doesn't she want to do a party? Is there something that you could say to just kind of get that across? Because I think we take things personally, and you can't in this business. You really can't.
Yeah, very true. Here's what I would say. If I could walk you down to the other end of the house, our office is on that end, and my kids have taken that over, and they've had their beds in there right now because their bedrooms are upstairs and they don't want to go all the way upstairs yet. But I have my first goal board, my first dream board, in there, and I made it 1998, and I kept it because we've been able to achieve every one of those goals, every one of those dreams, and we've been doing that ever since. And I just think that every time I want to quit, every time I want to slow down, and I still do, guess what? It doesn't change. It doesn't change. Like, there's days that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this today. I don't want to do this. Are you kidding me? We got enough. We're debt free. We got plenty of money. We're good. We got a great life. Why am I doing this? Why am I going through this? Why am I dealing with these people on this meeting or that meeting? Or why do I got to go to Syracuse, New York in the middle of a snow? No, I'm kidding. I love Syracuse. But the point is that we all have these things that happen, and we get in, I call them funks. I did an audio called Jump the Funk.
Yeah.
And I've done a remake on it a few years ago, and it's free out there on YouTube, and I think it was on the Apple Store at one time as a free download. But I put the answer to this question in there because I get asked it a lot, and I start out that audio, and I'll say the same answer here. Until you know why, the how doesn't matter. That's a quote that I heard years and years ago, and I think it's very relevant to that question. That is, the reason we ask you for your goals and your dreams to write them down and have a vision board and decide what you're going to do is because we all go through these moments of not being happy or having a problem or wanting to quit, or somebody says, I mean, it could be something crazy. Like y'all have Cleanse in Canada? Do you have Cleanse?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. I didn't want to say a product that you didn't have, and then I get all these comments over here. We don't have it. When are we getting it? So I want to be very conscientious, so I didn't say the wrong product. But
we got keto today too.
I know that. That's exciting.
And probiotic the other day.
It'd be like somebody saying, it's ridiculous. They go, I took the Cleanse and I got constipated, right? I mean, it's like we get just thrown off by some of the most ridiculous things. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be somebody quitting your group. It could be somebody not getting the result they wanted on the product. It could be just you having a bad day with your spouse. It could be your kids aggravate. Anything. What keeps you coming back the next day or the day after or the day after or the day after is you got to know why you're doing it. When I look at those certificates behind you, Tennis, I mean, you had reasons to keep going. And it's not, I want to be ambassador, or it's, I want to be triple, right? That doesn't mean anything. What does that get you and your family? Mm-hmm. You got to start with a goal here, and then you got to take the next step and go here, and you got to take the next step and go here and go here. But you got to start. So if you don't know why you're doing this, and let me keep it simple. I know most people join at work because they want to try the products and they want to get a result. That's awesome. The great thing is that we have a product that you can actually do that with and make money even if nobody else says yes to the business. You can still make great money. You make money daily. We pay daily wrap cash, right? You can make money every day with wrap cash, weekly fast starts, monthly residual bonuses. But you got to know what's going to keep you to the next week, to the next week, to the next week, to the next month. Maybe it's as simple as an extra $500 a month that you're wanting to go spend on shoes. Maybe you're wanting to buy a new snowmobile. Maybe you're wanting to get your spouse out of a job they don't like. Whatever it is, you need to write it down, have a visual of it, and I would even recommend you record yourself stating what your goals are. I mean, I literally, if you go on my calendar, every single morning at 7:30 a.m., I'm trying to find a date that doesn't have all my secret meetings showing up on here, but you go on there, it says, "Good morning, Mike." And I have an audio recorded. Tiffany has an audio recorded. My daughter's voice is on there. And it's a short 2 to 3 minute of our goals and our dreams. And we record them as if they've already happened. And we listen to it over and over and over and over. And we got pictures of what we want. We've got our dream boards, our goal boards. So when we do get in that funk or somebody's not happy with the results they got on something, or you have a bad day, you go back and you go, okay, do I really want those things? Do I really want to help pay off that church? Do I really want to help donate to that charity that helps find research for a cure to cancer? Do I really want to buy that new car? Do I want to get out of debt? Whatever those wants are, those whys, that's how you stay motivated. It's not being inspired just at an event or on a call or somebody motivating you, right? You've got to really decide what you want out of life, not 20 years from now, right? What do you want now? And that'll keep you through those times. And then outside of staying motivated, get on the calls, get on the Zooms, come to the events, because you're going to hear these same things over and over. And at some point, you're going to stop trying to convince yourself this stuff isn't true. You're going to wake up like we did one day and go, you know what? If we would just do what other people successful been doing, like write down our goals, listen to them, come to events, be around it, be consistent, be here a year from now, be here 2 years from now, be here 5 years from now. Keep saying, have you tried that crazy rap thing? Know that our job is 4 LCs, 3 DTs, and that goal is every month, and we repeat it, and it becomes this rhythm. It becomes this process that you just know it regardless. All of a sudden, you'll wake up one day and you go, oh my gosh, I'm diamond, or I'm triple. or I'm presidential, or I'm ambassador, or I'm a number one money earner in the company. And I look back and I go, what did I do? I've just been doing the same thing for a long time consistently, and I never slowed down. And when I wanted to give up, I decided, you know what? I could give up. There's a choice. We all have choices. I can give up, I can slow down, or I could just stay at it. And you got to keep going at it. So there's not an easy answer other than if you don't know what you want, you need to decide before you ever can expect to get it.
I love that. And like everything you just said, like you said, your why has to be so important. It's easy to quit. I mean, we all have bad days. Oh my gosh. I've had a rough year, and I share that with my team because this business gives me life. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for this business, I mean, so many bad things happen, life happens. I mean, there's always going to be something, right? Like
That's
there's
right.
always something. And so I'm very much tough love in a nice kind of way, but I know tough love worked for me, and, it changed my family's life. So whenever people tell me, oh, I can't get where, and their excuses, I'm just like, okay, well, you have to show up. You have to stay close to the fire. What do you want? Because like you said, people join this business for all different reasons, but whenever someone's having a bad day, share, I always ask, like, remember why you started, don't quit. It's easy to quit. I mean, I don't know. And another thing, just a little add to that, is that I know it bothers some people when they don't have people that are supportive or people saying things. Honestly, I use that as fuel. I'm sure you've had people that have, said things to you, Mike, over the years, like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, look at Mike, and what's he doing selling like, I'm sure people, have said things, but look at you. Do you think you care? Driving around in your nice car, and look what you've done for your family and, your children's legacy, you know what I mean? So I like that stuff fuels me. I get so fired up when someone says something negative. I just want to prove everybody wrong, right? And then it's good for me. So what's one thing that you could say about that? Because I know that bothers a lot of people.
You know what? That's a tough one. And as a guy, I'm probably going to come at it as a little bit different, perspective maybe. And I don't mean it to come across like you shouldn't care what other people think, but I really don't care what other people think. I used to. I still do in some circumstances, but when it comes to, my life, my family, my bills, we don't have debt, but if we had debt, it'd be our debt, our payments we have to make, our responsibilities. I'm never going to look to somebody else to take care of those, because then I'm always going to have to look to somebody else and take care of those. So I think you just have to really get real with that and make a decision. Who pays your bills? You do. Your family does. Your spouse does. And have a fun way of answering it. I think that some of us sometimes, I can be very direct, and especially once you make it, you become a lot more direct, because, the person who says something to you, they're not in the same situation that you are. Maybe they're not as successful, they're not whatever. And you can look at them and really make a scene, but they're not trying to be rude to you. Yeah. They're just scared that they're going to not become successful like you are. And they don't know what else to do. So I wouldn't attack them. I wouldn't go at them. I would just have an easy way to say, you know what, I don't stop believing, or whatever. Have something that's just a positive thing that you can look to them and say, hey, really appreciate it. It goes back to that Taylor Swift song, haters gonna hate. Have something fun to say to them and go, you know what, I appreciate your opinion. I'm just not going to listen to it today. Yeah, whatever, something that makes you feel good when you say it, that's not rude, not defeating, and it uplifts you, and it's the truth. So I think that, what we've done over the years is that you go through cycles. You go through well, I'm going to show them, and you get real mad, and you get this. And what I found is that no matter what they say, no matter how you feel, ultimately you may have not made it yet, and you still do need to keep working. So yes. I wouldn't lie to them and say, well, you should see my check. I wouldn't worry about getting real with them. Just know that they're really not trying to be mean to you or defeating. They're just probably not happy with their own life. Exactly. And, as goes their life, so goes it. It doesn't have to be yours. So have something fun that makes you smile. I mean, you could just give them the okay sign, and internally to you, maybe that means something else, but you're not holding up one finger. Whatever is good for you to get you to the next conversation, just do it. But know that they probably don't mean it. I mean, it can be your family, it can be your spouse, it can be your best friend, and they probably in their own way, they care about you and they're afraid you're going to get hurt. And, just tell them, listen, I got this. Really appreciate that. But, I got $500 a month I'm working on that I can pay off some debt a little earlier. And if I make any more, so be it. But, just have a nice little comment to come back and have some fun with it, and try not to be rude. But know that at the end of the day, you're responsible for you. You pay your bills. And whether you become the next top earner in the company or whether you make an extra $500 a month for the next 10 years, right? That's a great part-time, spare time, extra income. And I'd be proud of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much, Mike. And I don't want to take too much of your time, but one question one of my diamonds was asking, and I love this, is that, what is there one book? It doesn't have to be network marketing, or, it doesn't have to be anything even like about direct sales, or what's one book that you recommend that everyone should read?
Because I would not recommend many books in network marketing, direct sales, because most of them are written by people who've not built a business in 10 years. So let me go ahead and put that on record so everybody can hear that. I don't recommend hardly any books from people talking about network marketing, and goes all the way to the most popular today. I know all those guys. I know all those girls. They've not recruited the first person in 5 years. You are all probably more successful, earning more income that they have from a network marketing check than virtually any of them have done in the last 5 years, maybe even 10. So just because it's written in a book don't believe it, right? Just because it's on the internet, don't believe it. Read the personal development books that help you right here, right? If you can help right here, it'll go to your heart, and then you can take it and implement it into any business. So if somebody tells you, let me show you how to recruit 20 people in 30 days, hasn't freaking done it. Okay. So quit answering those ads, quit reading those books. That's the best advice I can give you on network marketing books. Read this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. It's a great book to start with. David Schwartz wrote it. Never met David, but it's a great book to start if you don't like reading, like me. I never liked reading. I didn't enjoy it. I hate books on tape. They're boring. They're always read by boring voices. So I needed to find books that engaged me. They were simple to understand, and they had a big purpose. And to me, the magic of thinking big, there's power in thinking big, because most of us are held back in our lives and people don't encourage us to think big. I mean, Tiffany and I never thought about paying cash for a car before somebody told us, think bigger, think bigger. I never thought about building our dream home and paying cash for it with no mortgage until somebody said, think bigger. You can be debt free. Or buying investment property with cash, not leveraging. You got to think bigger. So that's a great book to start with, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And then, there's a lot of others. John Maxwell's a great author that has some good leadership principles, but focus more on leadership books outside of direct selling than any books inside of direct selling.
Perfect. Thank you. And one other thing, I don't want to take too much of your time, like I said, but you being, the CSO, traveling, you're always there for the leaders. You're always on. I know I get overwhelmed, and I have a really big team, and I have a family. I'm a mom. How do you maintain balance? Like, do you some days, like, honestly, I had a day the other day, and I'm really bad. I'm always on my phone. But is there something that you do that, kind of is like, okay, this is my time. I need to, like, how do you balance all your different, everything that you do?
Honest answer, there's no such thing as balance.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. It's the elusive thing that doesn't exist. I think it's more counterbalance. I look at it as spinning plates. If you're going to be successful in life, in marriage, in business, in anything, you've got to decide how many plates you can spin without them falling. So you're counterbalancing the things that are falling. And I don't have it all figured out. My wife would tell you, I don't have it all figured out. She didn't have it all figured out. There's days that, it's like, seriously, put down your phone. Today was one of those days. And there's arguments, there's this, there's that. There's times where you just got to go. My mentor gave me a great piece of advice that is very hard to follow, but he said, wherever you are, be there. And I struggle with that personally because it is very hard as a dad, as a business guy, as a husband. I struggle with that. And the only way that I try to get better at it is that I speak it out. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be a little better at it. Hopefully the next day I'll be a little better at it. Then I'll get really bad at it again, and then I'll come back. So, I think more important than balance is having the conversation with your family of why you're doing what you're doing and getting on the same page. Doesn't mean it's going to be smooth. Doesn't mean that you're always going to agree. Doesn't mean that you're not going to put you on your phone or you're not going to argue, or this. But if your kids know why you're doing something, if they're involved in the dreams and the goals and all of those things, they'll understand, hey, when mommy picks up the phone or when mommy goes to a party or when daddy's doing this, that they get the benefit with it. They're part of that. And the other thing I would say is, and again, I'm not the best at it. I'm really not. It's something I've got to work on as a human being, as a husband, as a dad. But, our kids need focus time. And sometimes if we'll be able just to stop for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and just go focus with them and play, they'll feel like it's 10 hours and, they'll get their fill. But I think we all have to constantly be learning at that. When you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rot. And I always want to be green. I always want to be growing. But I've got a lot of work to do in that area. But I've not met many ultra successful people that have figured it out. There's books on there out on it. I just don't believe them.
I love that you said that. And we do have a lot of men and couples on here right now. And I know I have, I'm looking at Carol Ann. I know her husband, my husband was not supportive. I told him I was joining this and he didn't get it until I went double diamond and earned a bonus. And he was like, why are you always on your phone? He was complaining all the time and he just didn't get it. And, now he's retired. He helps me so much behind the scenes, and he's coming to his first event in February, to one.
Awesome.
It's exciting for me because, that whole, before I got double diamond, it was really hard. We were fighting lots. Like he didn't get it. And then I have had that mom guilt. I've been there. But then, whenever I'm running out to a party or getting on a Zoom or doing, where I can't put her to bed or I remember that, this is all for her. Like, otherwise, I'd be that mom like I was, that, depressed, lost, broken mom. We'd be in all this debt and you know what I mean? So you just make a choice, right? And you remember why you're doing it, and your why has to be so strong it makes you cry. And I know there's been other husbands or wives who haven't been supportive. And, I think when people start getting it, when they really get it, I know some of you guys are smiling at me right now because there were husbands that were like wanted, the wives wanted to quit and, they stuck through it. And a lot of them are doubles, triples, presidentials on the team. Right. So, I love hearing that from you because, we all, really respect you and appreciate you. And I love hearing that from you because, you've told us everything, you've gone through, bad parts and, business, life. I mean, we all do. Right. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times people look at you and they look at like the Dunns and the Walshes and Ronnie, and it's like, you think like, oh, they just got to Black Diamond. They just became a super successful person, but we all go through the same things. So
very true. Very true.
I love hearing that. Well, thank you so much, Mike. I think,
You're welcome.
We went over everything that the girls had, and guys, I should say. One other thing I was going to ask you, what's one thing that you think that every business owner with It Works really needs to know or have? Or I know there's no secret sauce. I know what's one last thing you can add? Because I know we are all super excited to get on this call with you tonight. What's one thing that you can kind of end off with? And I appreciate you
sure.
with us too.
What I would say to that is know what your job is. If you go to work every day, you know what you have to do to get your paycheck.
Yeah.
And I would say that there's really two parts of that when it comes to It Works. And that is, number one, your job is to complete the steps to success every month. Now, what do I mean when I say that? I mean, your job, if you looked at a job description of the It Works distributor, if you took that approach, just like if you were to go to the car wash and have a job there, or to the office, or a dentist, or whatever your profession may be, you got to do a job to get a paycheck. And I think if we had that kind of approach here, it would be your goal, your job is to recruit 3 new team members every month and 4 new loyal customers. That's your goal. Doesn't mean you always achieve it. It means that's your goal to start out every single month. That's what you got to know. That needs to be your goals, no matter what promotions are going on, no matter what product gets introduced. That is your job minimum, right? Not maximum, minimum. Every month, Mike, every single month. Do I place those people? Don't worry about that stuff, right? Don't worry about the details. Your job is to enroll 3 new team members, 4 loyal customers every month. Even when you're diamond? Yep, even when you're diamond. What about when I get to ambassador? Can I stop? Nope. That's your job, right? That's how you continue to remain ambassador and build other ambassadors. Once you have like 150 ambassadors for 10 years in a row, yeah, you can stop. Okay, then you can retire. Personally develop 150 ambassadors for 10 years. I give you the blessing to not enroll any distributors anymore, loyal customers. But until then, that's your job. It doesn't matter your rank. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. That's your job. And then here's what I would leave you with. If you're working and talking with other people that aren't willing to make that their job and they're a distributor, you need to walk away. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that in a negative way. You don't need to spend time with people that aren't willing to do their job. So I look at it like a game of catch, right? I'm a baseball fan. I've always loved baseball. And it wouldn't be very fun if I had a baseball glove on and I've got the ball and I take it out and I throw it to Tanis and she just stands there and like, okay, Mike, come get the ball, right? And I ran over there and I took the ball from her and then I took it and throw it to her again. And then she's like, I got it, come and get it. Like that wouldn't be very fun for me. That'd be very annoying. It'd be very frustrating. It would not be a game of catch. It would be me throwing, going and grabbing it, running back over here, throwing it again. It'd be a game of throw, right? Not very fun. Not the idea of what playing catch is. You got to have people that play catch with you. So if you're giving them a call to action of, hey, Christy, hey, Annie, hey, Juliana, your job is 3DTs, 4LCs every single month. Go do it. When you get one, I want you to call me, but not before then. And then all of a sudden, if I'm getting phone calls from Christy and Christy's going, hey, how you doing? How was the event this weekend? Great. Instead of having a conversation with Christy, my first question would be, hey, have you got any new LCs, your 4DTs or your 3DTs, 4LCs? No. Okay, perfect. Hey, call me back when you have one. Right? It's a game of catch. It's not just a game of throw. And I think you have to have that mentality to know what your job is and play the game with other people that are willing to commit to that job description. That's what you need to do for long term to be successful, because you're not going to build a great business with other people who don't want to build a business.
Exactly. I love that. You have to work with the workers. And it's hard sometimes, right? But this is business.
And it changes, right? Yeah. The worker today may not be a worker tomorrow. So what you've got to do is be consistent and know that some people are going to come into your life, out of your life, into your life, out of your life. And I'm not talking friendships you're losing. I'm saying the people that you're spending a third of your time with need to be the ones that are working now and that are focused now. You're going to spend a third of your time helping the whole team, right? But you also got to spend a third of your time with your own personal activities, your 3 new team members, your 4 LCs. But that third of your time has got to be focused on those that are building now. And don't ever lose sight of that. You join this because it's a business. Just because it was only, $100 or so US to say yes, it's $1 million business if you want it to be.
It sure is. And we're all going to be a bunch of ambassadors, right, guys? Some of us are very close.
I love it. I love it.
Can everybody smile?
Let's do it.
Thanks. Thanks again so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. I know my team was so excited. We've been talking about it for a past week, and thank you so much for getting on with us. So I really appreciate it. I look forward to meeting you. And look at these faces, because you're going to know all of them.
I like it. There's a lot of hungry people, a lot of excitement. So thank you all for taking some time out of your evening away from your kids and away from your significant others to spend a little bit of time with us. Hopefully we said one thing that made an impact on you. And I assure you, if you got one thing tonight, come to conference, there'll be many more one things. So Thank you, Tanis. Have a great night. Thanks,
Appreciate it so much. Have a good night. Bye,
yeah,
guys.
bye-bye.